Hello again everyone, welcome back. Today I have a battle for you played in the BZ-58-2. This battle was played by a player that goes by the name of Warfighter Tank 98. The BZ-58-2 is a relatively new Tier 9 reward Chinese heavy tank. So the reason it's a reward tank is because it's actually available as a battle pass reward. You can use your tokens you accumulate throughout the year from the battle pass to potentially buy this tank by the end of the year. So not a whole lot of players really have this vehicle. There's a few, because it's not brand spanking new, but not a whole lot of people actually have it. Maybe you haven't even noticed seeing this tank in battle too much. I've seen it a couple times, but not a lot. So it's one of those ones you might not know about, might not know a whole lot about, and perhaps too, you might want to learn a little bit more about it by watching videos like this to know if it's worth you buying in the near future. Those battle pass tokens take a long time to earn, and it would suck to spend them on the wrong tank or a tank that you regret buying in the end. So hey, education, excellent. I like it. So while Warfighter Tank is trying to figure out what he's doing in this battle, getting himself situated, heads up, incoming, I'll walk you through a few of the basic stats that this vehicle has. So firstly, most notably in my opinion, is that it has a 520 alpha damage gun. That's pretty healthy, and it fires once every 14.5 seconds or so without any special equipment or crew skills. I won't bore you with all the details about the gun handling, but it looks like it handles about how you would expect a gun that does 520 damage per shot to handle. The next thing that's worth noting is that it does have pretty decent armor, it's got a tough turret, and its upper frontal plate is also pretty good, not because it's extra thick, but because it's at a pretty high angle, and that is probably going to help it be a pretty good tank haul down. The only thing that's really a weak spot if you are hauled down is that you have a bit of a cupola on top of the tank, but they're not especially huge. So as long as you get a bit of a wiggle on, or maybe you're fighting at a medium to long range, that shouldn't be too big of an issue. Heads up again! That artillery shot wasn't as close. I think at this point in the battle, Warfighter Tank is already thinking, you know what, this spot isn't for me right now. This TVP has already put several shots into me. I haven't accomplished anything, and I didn't bring my umbrella to shield myself any more of those artillery shots that are coming in. So I'm going to see if I can find something else to do. Maybe I can do something sneaky. Maybe I can sneak around here and pick off someone who isn't paying attention. Perhaps the CS-59 over here is not paying attention. Let's see what he finds. He's aiming, he's ready, he's got himself his first kill, using most of that 520 alpha in order to do his first damage of the game and take out an enemy vehicle. As Warfighter Tank continues to move to his next position, you can tell he is obviously looking up at that hill, very concerned that one of those enemy vehicles that have taken over the top of the hill there are going to look down at him and do some massive damage, and he does not want to be surprised by him pointing his armor at where the enemy is going to shoot him from, as well as being pre-aimed on that spot as much as possible is a really good idea. But now he's taking up this position here, which I think is extremely risky. If one of those big tank destroyers, especially something scary like the FV-4005, is looking this direction, then there's going to be absolutely no chance that he's probably not going to take a massive shot. But luckily, no one was watching for him, no one expected him to pop up there, and they were all distracted with something else. And again, there's an Object 704, another big tank destroyer, along with that Ho-Ri 3 that was over there, who just missed him and got tracked and damaged for his efforts. And luckily for Warfighter Tank here, he managed to do another 1500 damage or so, and a whole bunch of assistance damage for that, and took nothing else in return. Now that these tank destroyers know that he's here though, I'd be a little bit more concerned. That Ho-Ri is definitely keeping tabs on Warfighter Tank. And you can see that he is also concerned about the Object 263 that is trying to enter the backside of the base, which is, of course, definitely a valid concern. That 263 does have really good frontal armor, as you can see right there, and he takes a hit from him. But if that 263 gives Warfighter Tank even a little bit of his side, it's going to be very easy to overmatch and penetrate that armor. At this point, I see that this battle is reaching a fairly awkward stage. Warfighter Tank is almost being surrounded by enemy vehicles. He's got them approaching on his right, he's got pressure potentially from the hill up on his left, and he's also got vehicles somewhere in the middle on the enemy flank that if he pokes up too far, are going to try to shoot him because he has made his presence known. He is in a situation where he needs to do something quickly, but he also needs to be very cautious about how he approaches that, because throwing away any of his hit points at this point will potentially change the outcome of the battle for his entire team, and his team is losing fairly badly. They are down over 1,000 hit points and several vehicles. Luckily, Warfighter Tank's allies have done a good job at clearing out that northwest corner of the map, and now managing to sneak in a shot on that Manticore, and that's going to allow a little bit of that pressure to be taken off of a Warfighter Tank in his position and allow him to hold that position a little bit longer. But look here, now we have that 50B coming up, along with a lot of presumably more enemy vehicles. And Warfighter Tank is kind of fighting with the rear of his tank here. That's a little bit scary, especially with these big Alpha and Auto Loader tanks over here. But he's going to play this by showing only as little of his tank as he needs to. If I were him, I would have flipped around. But, well, at least he's sort of showing artillery his frontal armor. Hopefully this 268 doesn't get wise and decide to shoot him until Warfighter Tank manages to finish him off himself and roll 15 high in order to get that kill. That BZ-58-2 is on top of the hill. Can Warfighter Tank get a shot at him? Nope, there's some rocks in the way. But this battle is starting to come back to Warfighter Tank. His team is now winning by hit points by 2,500. Warfighter Tanker has now done over 5,000 damage himself and 2,000 assistance and picked up 2 kills. Let's see what else he can do. Is that Ho-Ri 3 still there? Doesn't look like it. He has, as I would expect, moved into a different position. But this BZ-58 is just not paying attention, or perhaps, ooh, an unnecessary ammo rack, perhaps not paying attention to what Warfighter is doing, as artillery continues to try to slam down into him. But it looks like the deflection mode of Warfighter Tank's umbrella is working just fine for now. His Warfighter Tank here takes a second to just kind of plan out what his next move is, observe the mini-map, see what his allies are doing. He's going to decide to actually peek up here and see if he can locate this Ho-Ri 3 again, or maybe even the 704, and get another sneaky shot in there. He's kind of testing to see if he's getting spotted. He was not initially, but that Ho-Ri 3, actually, 6th Sense didn't go off again. And the 704 shoots him as well. So he must have been spotted that entire time, and his hunting with the 6th Sense there did not really do him any justice. Either he was still spotted from something like that Skoda, the BZ-58 up on the hill, or I think that 704 may have had a line of sight on him through those bushes, still keeping him lit up just barely. But now, after securing his 4th kill, Warfighter Tank is now on the hunt because his team has pulled this battle so far back in their direction. It's now over 6,000 hit points left on their team versus only a little over 2,000 hit points remaining on the enemy team. So it is time to clean up. It is now a 7 versus 3 battle. This should be no contest whatsoever. Let's see if he can go get himself a 5th kill, or maybe even a 6th kill, and bring home the Top Gun. I imagine that Warfighter Tank would be extremely happy with that kind of result, especially considering how the beginning of this battle went with that TVP and artillery picking at him. And here comes the 5th kill. Can we get it? Can we get it? Oh yeah, Skoda T50 managed to pick up the last 91 hit points of that vehicle, and who cares about that low hit points though? The kill is always nice and very satisfying to get. And Warfighter Tank, although I'm sure he'd like to have more damage than this done, I'm sure is very happy with almost the 6k he's done so far. He is clearly thinking the same thing I am. He wants that 6th kill. He wants that Top Gun. He doesn't want to waste any time capturing the enemy base. Let him get out of here. Let him hunt down that Manticore. But where has it gone? It's all the way on the other side of the map. That does not look promising for Warfighter Tank at all. For him to get over there in time and beat, say, the T-54 over there, as well as the UDAs and the T-100 LT that are beside him that are much faster, it is not promising. But the Manticore does manage to finish off artillery. And as someone who plays artillery a fair bit myself, I'm going to say, who cares about the artillery? It's fine that it died. The T-54 is hunting the Manticore over there. T-54 has lots of hit points to play with. So I think that unless the Manticore makes himself visible to Warfighter Tank and drives pretty much right at him, it's not looking promising for that Top Gun. Warfighter Tank is trying to predict where that Manticore is going to go. Manticore is turning other directions. He has different ideas, and Warfighter Tank is trying to adjust accordingly. But the Manticore is getting closer and closer. Maybe, just maybe, Warfighter Tank can get in there. He just needs to get that one shot in there before anybody else does. Get a 6th kill, and if he had an extra 2 seconds or so, he might have been able to get that Top Gun. That's a little bit disappointing, but still a very good battle. Again, almost 6,000 damage done this battle. 5 kills picked up. Not half bad at all. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this battle. I hope that this helps with you getting a good idea if you like this vehicle or not. From what I've seen in this replay alone, I think that it's probably not a terrible vehicle, to be completely honest, and I maybe will consider picking it up myself, depending on how many Battle Pass tokens I have at the end of the season, and if any of the other Battle Pass vehicles look any more intriguing than this one. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Have a good one.